What some of you don't know about me, okay, you two don't know, everybody else might know. I used to work in a place called a video store. There were these buildings where you could go in and there were things called movies, and you would pick one that you like and you could pay money and rent that. Sort of like going to the library. Modern technology has disheveled the industry and made video stores unnecessary. But the fact remains there are still so many great movies out there. So, what we are doing today for Table Topics is I have scenes from movies. And what you will do, you'll choose one of these. If this is a movie you recognize, you can tell us about the movie, tell us what you thought, maybe if you liked it or didn't like it. If you've never seen the movie, then make something up. Because that's what Table Topics is about, is speaking on the fly. So just as a reminder, the timing on this is 1 to 2 minutes. So that's at least 1 minute of maybe making things up if you haven't seen the movie. I did try to go easy on everybody. These are all Best Picture winners. I didn't do like somebody who brought a bunch of books that nobody had ever heard of. That was fantastic, though. I actually stole your idea and just used it.
Yes, nice.
Thanks, appreciate that. Okay, so the green light will come on at 1 minute, yellow at 1.5, and red light at 2 minutes. Susan Glenn. All right, choose a number 1 through 8. No. Number 2. Okay. Oh, just as a clue here, these movies range from the 30s to the 90s. So nothing super new, but we do have some classics. It's number 2.
Jill was right. Scarlett O'Hara. Gone with the Wind. 19-something something. Before 1950 and after 1920, I'm sure. Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh. 2 amazing actors. Scarlett O'Hara was one of my inspirations for being a costume designer. I love the dresses she wore. And I don't know if you remember, but the green dress she wore looked like they had been made out of Laura's curtains. So I'm going to wind it. I'm not a real movie buff. I don't really like movies. And if you ask me to go to a movie with you, I will fall asleep in the first 20 minutes. And I'll probably wake up during the credits. But I remember watching Gone with the Wind all the way through. I was probably in my teens, and my mom warned me about watching this movie because it had foul language in it. I remember my parents turning down the sound when they said that horrible word, which I will not repeat in this room, but I have repeated in other times of my life. I love the costumes, I love the play, I love the theme. I love how brave this woman was, how brave the men were. I love this era, I love big fancy dresses, I love costuming, and I absolutely love doing table topics. Thank you, Jesse.
All right. Brian, can we have you come up? He's going to be a Table Topics pro. I think he's learned every time now. Okay. You now have 7 to choose from, 1 through 7.
Only 7.
Yeah.
Let's do 5.
Okay. Okay. It's a tougher one.
Oh.
There you go. All right. Would you like to show that to the audience? Maybe they can help you out there.
So I have honestly no idea what movie this is. There's 2 very disheveled gentlemen. So I got that. They're in tuxedos. The Sting. Somebody mentioned the soundtrack to The Sting to me recently. And I realized I should really add this movie to my list of movies to watch. I've heard really good things about it. Can't remember why the soundtrack to this movie came up. Was it another show that I was watching that was beeping movie that I really should watch. We got two guys, looks like they're getting held up, maybe this thing's going down right now. They're in a bar. Anybody who's seen the movie probably knows what this scene is, it's very famous. I almost recognize those actors maybe. Is that like, wait, you guys are laughing right now. Let's see, it kinda looks, yeah, it kinda looks like Paul Newman and Robert Redford,
Yeah.
just like way back in the day. Let's see, I'm gonna try to guess too, when this movie was made, based on how old, I really don't know. I'm gonna go with 1950 something. And the green light is on. I enjoyed doing this table topics on something I know nothing about.
How many people have seen this scene? Okay, and for all of you.
And the soundtrack has the song The Entertainer. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
It is a fun movie.
It was Community. That's the show I saw
Okay.
that was
Okay.
doing this thing.
Bob Patel. Okay, you have 6 to choose from.
The third one.
Okay, this is one of my favorites. Favorite scene from a favorite movie. Because I love this.
Tell me the movie again. What was the movie?
That's Ben Hur.
Okay, great. Okay, so everybody see it? What's really interesting about talking about movies, when I was in college, I thought I wanted to go into acting. So I actually went to the 3 professors at BYU and I said, I'm thinking of going into acting, and what I'm going to do is at the end of the semester, I want you to watch me and I want you to give me your honest opinion, should I stay in theater or shouldn't I? So I did that, which has nothing to do with Ben-Hur, but it was really interesting. One of them said, don't ever give up the theater. Well, the next year I missed a couple of field goals and I was feeling really down, and this one girl goes, you always have to be in the spotlight. And actually, her criticizing me at that moment, I went in and I dropped theater and I decided to go after something else, actually PE. So that's one of the things I think about when I think about acting. Another one is, and this deals with judgment. Have you ever heard judgment is a connection killer? I've got this on my mind lately. My son, I said, hey, why don't we go see a movie? He's 28 years old. He says, Dad, I can't go to a movie with you. I said, why not? He says, Dad, when I was a little boy, there was something inappropriate on TV, and you went up and you were very smug and you turned it off, and that's not something we're going to watch. And he said, the way you acted, I found myself every time watching TV that I would be looking over my shoulder scared that you were watching. He said, I can't walk into a theater with you, I'm sorry. I said, Thomas, why didn't you ever tell me this before? He says, Dad, you were so judgmental. You remember Uncle Mike playing golf on Sunday, and you were so down about Uncle Mike playing on Sunday. He said, there was a wall that went up and I could never share what I really felt with you. He says, but now that you said there's nothing you could ever do that will disappoint me or anything you can't do to disappoint me, he says, Dad, I feel safe with you now, and now I can pretty much share anything with you.
Linda, could I ask you to move over 2 seats in time so that Eric can come up and do table topics?
Yes. You want me to move what?
Over 2 seats.
He wants you to take Eric's spot.
I want you to time so that Eric can come to table topics. Can I take you out
That
there?
better be a movie I know.
other hot seat.
Everyone up here together. There's 6 to choose from.
One.
Number 1, it's another tougher one. Do you recognize this movie?
I've seen a lot of old movies, but
Good luck.
Show it to us.
I don't even know who the actors are.
That's ancient of days, isn't it?
It's 1935.
See, I wasn't
It's a
even born
movie
yet.
called It Happened One Night. It's Clark Gable and
Tell us about popcorn.
Okay, I've not seen this movie. It's probably one of the few old flicks that I haven't seen because I am a movie buff for old movies. I just absolutely love them. In fact, if you haven't seen Look Who's Coming Over for Dinner, you've got to see it. It is an all-time classic, Oscar winner. It's fantastic. So although I haven't seen this movie, I would like to talk to you a little bit about Clark Gable. What do you guys know about Clark Gable? Susan, what do you know?
Very handsome.
Handsome. Kim? frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, and neither do I.
Your word.
Okay? Clark Gable was the quintessential gentleman in this era. And I'm not talking about manners. I'm talking about style. I'm talking about the way he presented himself. I want you to realize one thing about Clark Gable, that in the morning before he got dressed, he had two things in mind. One was his audience. Number two was his message. And he made sure that he dressed the part, not only for his movies. If you see his pictures from paparazzi or different events that he attended, he was always dressed to the nines because he always paid attention to his message and to his audience. And he made absolutely sure that his style matched those two things. So I will leave you with a challenge. We'll call it the Clark Gable Challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you get dressed, I want you to consider your audience for that day and your message.
So it happened one night, for anybody who doesn't care about movies. This was actually the first movie to win what they call the Big Five in the Academy Awards. So Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Screenplay, and Best Director.
What's it called again?
It Happened One Night. Yep. Fantastic movie. Okay, I think we have time for one more. And her name is Kimbika. We've got 4 to choose from.
Pick 7 yet?
Yeah, 4 to choose from, 1 through 4.
Oh, 1 through 4.
Yeah, I've just been
Okay.
eliminating.
Well, let's go with 2.
Number 2. It's a piece of cake.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
Oh, I love that.
I can't see from back here.
The Sound of Music. I remember being a young girl and going to see this during a re-release of the movie with my mother. And I think that's when I fell in love with cinema. There was something about the music and the songs and this very positive story that just took me in. I think one of my favorite scenes, well, how would I choose? But one of the scenes that's most meaningful to me is when she's going in to be the governess to 7 children. And she's standing in front of the gate and she goes, oh. She's a little overwhelmed. And then she starts singing about what? I have confidence, the world can all be mine. And in that moment, she turns it around. Because she tells herself, I can do this. She acknowledges it's overwhelming, but I have confidence. I'm going to go give it my best. I'm going to take everything I have, and I'll be successful.